Well, I'm very pleased to have an opportunity to speak about these issues. They're very important to me. I was one of the first people involved in climate change in Canada. I organized the first international meeting of lawyers to discuss drafting an international convention on climate change. I worked with the provinces and Aboriginal governments on developing the Canadian Environmental Assessment Act, and I put it through the legislative process in the House of Commons, not once but twice, and worked on the drafting of that legislation by bringing in people from environmental groups across Canada to sit with me in the drafting room, something that had never been done ever before or since. I know how to work with First Nation groups. I've done that on the First Nation Land Management Act, on the Environmental Assessment Act. When I go to Ottawa, I know how the processes work there. I have connections there. I understand how the machinery of government works and how to get things done efficiently and quickly. And I think that I have a lot to offer in this regard, and I hope that I get a chance to put that into practice once again, and I don't mind the -38 winters.
And Bonnie?
Realistically, I don't expect to go to Ottawa at all. But my party stands for the least government intervention as possible. That means lowering the income tax to $15,000 a year, no, 15%, and increasing the allowance. And we would like to legalize cannabis and decriminalize all other drugs and prostitution. And we would like to make it easier to acquire a firearm. I know that's unpopular. And also we would like to provide private alternatives to health care. So,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Larry?
I could try to convince you to vote for me. I think instead of doing that, and I was thinking I should talk about our sad state of democracy. I'm just going to read directly from a letter from Elizabeth May about the reason that we're here tonight, and that is trains and rail safety. And she says this: there are two major gaps in contemporary rail safety regulation. The first lies in the move to safety management systems, which are essentially a form of deregulation. According to the 2007 report by the Canada Safety Council, the system is one that allows rail companies to regulate themselves, removing the federal government's ability to protect Canadians and their environment, and allowing the industry to hide critical safety information from the public. The Green Party will implement strict rail safety regulations to shift away from the trend towards self-management and deregulation. As well, Transport Canada should have the supervisory authority to review these safety management systems. A second major threat to rail safety is the government cutbacks to Transport Canada, which I've already spoken about. And to improve rail safety, the Green Party strongly advocates for positive train control. Positive train control involves onboard computer systems to monitor and analyze key information, prevent collisions, and control speed. Canada has not yet adopted this approach. It's time to catch up to the US and implement this safety system immediately. I congratulate you all for being here tonight. It is such an important issue. When people ask me, what is the issue in your riding, I can't decide whether it's trains and tankers or tankers and trains, but trains is up there for sure. So thanks for coming.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
There are two things which I think are fundamentally important to this election: preserving Canada's parliamentary democracy and the Canadian Constitution. Constitution matters, integrity matters. We have a government today that is telling you that it is a Conservative Party of Canada. It's not. It's something else. That's why Progressive Canadians are here. We have a government that tells us that the Parliament of Canada really doesn't matter. It does. It is the means of your expression. It is the means by which democracy is supposed to represent your interests, our interests, as a nation and as a people, really. And we are one people regardless of our origins. Canada matters, and it is important that we make it work. And we do that by cooperating. And it means that a bunch of us here, or Ms. Watts as well, all have an opportunity to express our points of view and to pass it on to you for you to pass your judgment on. Canada matters. We have seen a government today which sees itself not as a party of national unity, of nation building, of national vision, but instead one that sees laissez-faire capitalism, corporatism, serving the interests of corporate interest rather than national interest and your interest as a democracy, and seeing itself as, I'm sorry, Bonnie, but libertarian, which pretends to be a view that favors the individual, where indeed progressive conservatives, progressive Canadians have always favored the individual within the community. And I think that's what builds societies.
Thank you.
Relocation of the rail is essential, I believe, to bringing this community and satisfying their needs, which is to keep a clean, safe community. This has been kind of a wonderful evening for all of us, the candidates, and we're getting to know each other well, to discuss with issues of significant importance to White Rock and South Surrey. Our Real Change Plan is one of the most comprehensive plans offered in this election. It's to ensure we look after our children and bring them up to be good citizens, respecting climate and respecting the environment. It's also, we're trying to protect our health care and expand home care. We want a tax-free child benefit and a middle-class tax cut, and growing our economy, but never at the expense of our environment. We must protect our environment. And we must meet those critical, important infrastructure needs. And that's the essence of Justin Trudeau's platform. I knew his father, so the whole objective is to put jobs out there for people, the well-paying jobs, to grow the middle class, and to shift the tax burden from the middle class onto those, that 1% of wealthy people who can afford to pay. And when we do that, then we bring the money back to those important issues of community needs and community strengths.
Thank you, Judy. So that wraps up the end of the evening. I'd just like to say a big thank you to everybody who came out this evening. It takes a lot of strength of character and a lot of foresight into wanting to run to be an elected official. So I think we should give all of our candidates a really big round of applause.